it was our hope that the program, in addition to becoming more fairly administrated, would also be expanded somewhat to provide for those children who do not have adequate lunches at school and whose parents cannot provide them with adequate lunches. And so for that reason, we are very disappointed, and our clients are in worse shape than they were before.
Are you contemplating any kind of specific legal action?
Yes, we are.
Do you consider this a backward step on the part of the schools?
We definitely think it's a backward step at a time when we were hoping that the school and the School Lunch Association would move forward in a progressive manner.
We, the teachers and the administrators of this school district, have come to an agreement on a professional consultation agreement that will assure meaningful involvement of all teachers in policy matters that affect them in the Dallas Independent School District.
In my opinion, we have concluded an agreement which guarantees to the teachers of the Dallas Independent School District every right and every procedure that is necessary for our voice to be heard. Without reservation and in all sincerity, I feel that I can now recommend to the members of our association acceptance and ratification of the document which has today been completed. I feel that we are now in a position to move forward together in the best interest of all the children of all the people.
I recommended to the board that we would come to them at our next meeting with one school, which we would operate on this type of an operation on a pilot basis rather than all of the high schools, and that we would then have 1 year to observe this plan in action, and if we were correct in our assumptions, the values of this operation would be evident to everyone who viewed it, and if there were some modification need to be made, we could make it and then implement it in all of the schools. It would simply delay it. We felt like rather than to lose the entire battle, we'd rather try to keep the plan in operation in one school and implement it later. The board, when it meets next, of course, has the option to reinstate the program if they so elect completely or in one case, but we couldn't afford to let the time get away.
My first impression is that there's no legal reason which would prohibit the Dallas Independent School District from using local tax funds. In addition to that, I think that the question becomes a very moral question when you consider the fact that poor kids really need at least one nutritional meal a day in order to be attentive students and to learn in public schools. It's my position that it is first of all, local responsibility to provide the necessary nutritional needs of students in the Dallas Independent School District. And therefore, the legal question notwithstanding, it still remains a moral question. I think that Dallas citizens should provide the necessary funds for the program if, it's not enough federal money available at this time.
Do you think Dr. Estes has broken faith with you in light of the discussions you've had previously on this subject?
Well, I think that certainly the superintendent has misconceived the spirit and the purpose of the National School Lunch Program. To conceive the program as a business venture, which must, first of all, pay its own way, in which the books must balance, is really to misconceive the whole program. The program is to provide the so-called daily bread for children of the poor who would not otherwise have this particular meal during the day.
In the first place, we did respond to a call for help. In the second place, we had every legal justification and provocation. And in the third place, it was directly related to the security not only of the United States and but also of some of our allies. And as you probably know, legality in the world today is determined, unfortunately still, by the highest national interest of the individual states.
Most Indians do have rural backgrounds, and they're moving into the urban centers. Well, as you know, there are many studies on the problem of rural people moving into the urban setting. But you also have complicated with that language, and this is harsher on a person when he comes from a reservation, because you have a layer of tribal government on top of his own individual personality. You have tribal government, federal government, kind of supervision or overseer type situation. Then you may even have a language barrier, and the lack of good education, if he has, the quality of education that he has, and the lack of experience living on a reservation and coming into these centers.
And is all this complicated by the fact that the social agencies aren't aware of him and he isn't aware of them?
That's right, and this is one of the reasons we're trying to bring to the focus to the local community, because many people aren't aware that there is an Indian community, and the Indian doesn't know, say for instance, he may have a health problem, and he doesn't know how to go and to the proper institutions to receive the kinds of services.